Welcome to Just Not Good Cooking. That's right, you heard it here. The cooking that this moron does is just not good.
This is an experiment in more than one way. First, it's the first video of cooking that I'm doing, and it is a recipe that combines 2 or more recipes that I have found on the internet, plus modifications of my own that are more aligned with what I like to eat. The final objective is to make a fried rice recipe. It will also incorporate shrimp, pork, chicken, and anything else I feel like putting into it. The list of items include chicken breast, package of shrimp, baking soda, soy sauce, sugar or molasses, cornstarch, kosher salt, MSG, oil, dark soy sauce, pepper, eggs, red onion, green pepper, carrots, garlic, green peas, bean sprouts, rice, green onion, toasted sesame oil, bacon, and pepperoni. So bear with me as I try to show how I accomplish this. I wrote a script because I have no short-term memory. And I do have a channel that I use for streaming games. I am undecided as to whether I will create a separate channel for cooking or not. As I am writing this, I am not sure if maybe I've already done so and forgot. Oh well. First, I have set up a bunch of the equipment I'm going to use. This is a very small kitchen. I wish I had a lot more equipment, such as an air fryer, for example. I have no place to put it, even if I had the money to buy it. I have seen many cooking videos, and they all have all sorts of tools, utensils, and equipment. I will make the sauce ahead of time and place into a small container like one of these, so that I do not have to worry about food burning while making the ingredients. These are just some of the containers that I will use after cutting up the onions and peppers and such. So one container will be for the sauce, another container for the dry mix of spices that will be added. Other containers will hold cut up ingredients such as green onions, red onions, green peppers, carrots, and so forth. Also, containers will also be reserved for partially cooked items, such as cooking the eggs separately ahead of time, the meat and other things that will be added after adding the ingredients in a specific order. So what we're going to do now is cook some bacon. Seeing how I'm a baconaholic, it is very often the first thing I do for any recipe, start with the bacon. I generally use the same amount of bacon. Is 6 strips, and I always have thick cut. So many years growing up, the regular bacon was so thin and small and shriveled up. When I tried the thick cut, that was it. Last time I ever used the regular cut bacon. Trying to arrange these so that all 6 strips will fit into this pan, which is undoubtedly the wrong pan to reuse, but it's the one I've got. and so many times of burning my bacon. I decided to start cooking it at a lower setting. And that's probably why some of my pans are warped. And as you can see, this one is pretty well warped. But it works. It functions. It does the job. I don't have money to go around buying new things because it has a scratch or something in it. So I'm stuck using what I have. Small kitchen, small budget, and small mind. And they go together. So what I do is I set the timer for like 15 minutes or 10 minutes. And then I come in and check it. And then I usually set it for some more time. It takes, I think, 2 run-throughs at this heat before turning it over and doing it the last 5-10 minutes. And I have nicely cooked bacon where I don't have to sit here and watch it. I can go back into the computer room and do more of my work. So I'll just let this cook between the low and the high settings. It's right around 3. And I guess high is actually 9 and low is 1. So it's not really 1 to 10. But that's what I got. So I will pause the video until we come back and see what it's like. And after 5 minutes, starting to look a little bit translucent and grease coming out. It's still quite a ways off from being cooked. This is what it looks like after short-term memory 5 minutes, or is it 3? 15 minutes, I think. I can't remember. Need a plate with paper towels to drain it afterwards. Now we're going to flip them over. Not to get any grease on the stove top. You can see that they are brown on the bottom edge. Now we'll let it cook for another 10 minutes. Now here we are, and the bacon is nice and brown and a little crispy, the way I like it. Shake off a little grease. Soak it up on a paper towel. Turn it off. And we're all set for this part. And the next thing I do, now that the bacon is cooked, and I'm going to add pepperoni to the mix also. So I will cut both the pepperoni and the bacon into small pieces of varying size. My tastes are much like nature, that there's very rarely anything that's exactly the same. There's no two blueberries that are exactly the same weight, size, and shape. So anything that I put into food, I make sure that it's not cut exactly the same way. And the bacon, it's crispy. It's very easy. You don't have to cut it. You can just break it apart. And I am very clumsy, so very often I drop pieces of bacon. Well, I dropped it and caught it with my mouth. Okay. And just cut all this stuff up into little pieces. Oops. Dropped another piece. I've got all these containers. I've painstakingly saved money for and bought a little at a time, different sizes, so I can seal this up. And if I, because of my health, have difficulty standing and doing things like this for long periods of time, I can put it in the refrigerator and keep it and start it back up on the next morning or later in the afternoon or evening. So that's the part that does the bacon and the pepperoni. So in this part of the recipe, I am going to make the liquid sauce to go on after the rice is cooking. I use the dark soy sauce, oyster sauce, molasses, regular soy sauce, cinnamon, and cayenne pepper. And I have my little container here to put it into, to hold on to till I get to the point where it's going to be added to the mix. So we have is, look at the recipe again. So it's a tablespoon of molasses. I don't like to waste a spoon because the molasses sticks to the spoon. And at some point I'm going to be able to open this. And we're just going to put in what would be close to a tablespoon. There. So sticky. And let's see. And soy sauce, oh, I gotta get my tablespoon. It was still in the dish. Okay, regular soy sauce, yes. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce.
Firefighters from a small town.
2.
Kids beat the heat in style by driving a fire truck
I
down.
can count to 2.
The firefighters made sure
That's amazing.
everyone with some water. While
Now
the
the dark
turned the favor,
soy
by
sauce.
putting some water balloons back
I
out.
also want 2.
Now that's a perfect way to end the summer. A heartwarming scene unfolded on this hot summer.
And again, everything sticks to the tablespoon. Okay. And then we have, well, actually 2 teaspoons of oyster sauce. Okay. I don't have my teaspoon measurer. Oh, wonderful. Should have had all this stuff out, but I forgot. So 2 teaspoons of oyster sauce.
On November 1st, 2022,
There's
the local
one.
county dispatch received a 911 call reporting a bicyclist had been struck by a vehicle in Lodi, Wisconsin. The caller witnessed the incident and saw the striking vehicle flee
And
the scene.
then
They were able to provide deputies with a description of the vehicle and the direction they went.
add a little bit
The
of
side view mirror was
cinnamon.
also found under the bicyclist from the suspect's vehicle.
like a,
Moments later, a Lodi police officer located a vehicle they believed was
should
involved in
actually be a
and
half
notified Columbia County deputies.
teaspoon.
The driver was identified as 43-year-old Marie Pinkston.
That's about a quarter. How come I don't have all my measuring things? Missing half a teaspoon. Oh dear. Evidently that one got lost. I don't know what happened.
my house to pick my kids up from school. And I did it.
And the heck can't read.
Pick them up. I thought it
There's a half a teaspoon.
was annoying a person. I found my house. I thought I
Okay.
hit a sign and I'm like, what's up? I picked my house.
Half a teaspoon cinnamon.
I was on the road. Yes.
Alright.
You know, veer off a little bit. So I just came from Rockford, Illinois,
And
because I took my father-in-law.
half a teaspoon
So they could treat me. And I dropped
of
him
cayenne
off. I even got a speeding ticket because I was
pepper.
going fast. I was going fast.
I like cayenne pepper.
Oh my God, it's the first question.
Go. That should be everything.
Home after. Oh my God,
Mix it up.
it's a lot for me right now. I didn't mean to hurt anybody.
It's the easiest way to mix it up.
So I came to Rockford.
When you
Got a
have
speeding ticket 'cause I didn't want to be late.
a container like this, if you snap it
So I
down,
left at home.
there you go. Now it can stay mixed. Excellent. So that is the sauce that's going to go into the fried rice. Okie dokie. Now, using another container, we're going to use the dry spices that we are going to add to our fried rice. Let's see if I can go by the
Because I was going to be late to pick my kids up.
printout for the recipe.
I've never been late to pick my kids up.
Let's see. The dry spice mix. 3 teaspoons of salt.
I just want my kids to Like, go to jail.
3 teaspoons. Which one is the teaspoon? Okay.
No. I didn't do nothing. Oh my god. Is there any reason that I was expecting?
1,
So I think they're doing okay. They're
2,
While speaking with Marie, the deputy detects an
3.
odor of intoxicants coming from her person.
so today you came back.
Teaspoons of salt. And my reading ability is not very good. Some pepper, just says pinches of pepper. Whatever is a pinch of pepper,
No.
I'm not quite sure.
Oh, I don't know. I was drinking. I got drunk last night.
And 1.5
No, up here. High school.
MSG, which I'm using this accent.
Oh, I didn't.
I can't read.
I got drunk.
Okay, that is a teaspoon. 1.5.
No, I just drove 4 hours.
1
I'm
and
sorry.
the
I
1/2
did. I had a meeting
is this one.
this morning at 8:15. Then I had to rush from there to pick my father-in-law
Okay.
up.
1.5.
I picked him up last night. Left.
And
I brought him here from the train. He stayed the night.
here's my
Then
place.
I got after I got up and
Oregano.
I didn't church.
1
When I
teaspoon
left there,
of oregano. Teaspoon of oregano. And teaspoon turmeric. However you pronounce it. Kind of humidity got to it.
why are you like circling me?
Got to loosen it up a little bit here.
You submit to an evidentiary testing.
Okay. Turmeric. Not sure if it's turmeric or turmeric. I only recently started using it. No one told me how to pronounce it. In cardamom.
Marie was charged with 20 counts of hit and run, causing bodily harm and injury by intoxicated use of a vehicle. She was released on a $500 signature bond with conditions of maintaining absolute sobriety.
Need to be mixing the spices.
Support Code BlueCam by joining our Patreon to get exclusive access to content behind the scenes.
Kern. Not sure how to pronounce that one either. Is it, you think cinnamon with an N on the end, and then cardamom with an M, it ends in mom. I don't get that one. Okay. And cayenne pepper. teaspoon of that. Be careful not to put too much. Get too spicy. Okay. Cayenne pepper. And a teaspoon of parsley. Parsley. Teaspoon of sage. And a teaspoon of rosemary. And a teaspoon of thyme. And one of the biggest reasons why I use these spices is because I like the song. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. It's a silly reason to put in a spice. I know. Okay. There. Now, same with the liquid mix. You can mix it all up in these little containers quite easily for uniformity. There. That's the dry spices. In this portion of the video, with my terrible lighting, I'm going to cut up a red onion, a green pepper, some carrots, and green onions. And I'll use the slicer. Now for the green pepper and the red onion, I'm going to use the slicer. Faster, get a nice even slice. And the green pepper. Now I have nice evenly sliced green peppers and onions. And I still have bad lighting. Now, for this, I'm going to cut up the green peppers and onions into somewhat smaller pieces. I don't like to have large chunks of onion, but I like to have it varied in the size of the pieces. Not symmetrical. So I'll just cut kind of at a random thickness and down like that. Get some big pieces and some small pieces. And then I got a container right here where to put the veggies. And then the green pepper going to be pretty much the same. When I first started cooking with red onions and green peppers, I had to cut them very small because I wasn't fond of the taste. So that's something that you can consider if you have people that don't like certain veggies. You can disguise them by cutting them very small. And of course, when you cook onions, they do reduce in size once you get them sauteed in butter. Add that to the same bowl because we're going to basically put them in at the same time. So it doesn't matter. And I'm not fond of carrots for some strange reason. Maybe that's why my eyesight isn't any good. So I like to have them also reduced in size. Doesn't have to be much, just a little bit. And I don't think I'm going to be sauteing the carrots with the red onions and green peppers. So let's go in with a little bit of oil and butter. And, well, maybe I can do it that way. Yes. Let's just put them all. Put them all in at the same time. That will, I guess, soften the carrots. And crusted onion. Biggest problem I have is when you're living by yourself. It's difficult to buy food at a smaller quantity. So sometimes things tend to linger in the refrigerator. And I've seen a lot of videos where they use the green onions as more of a garnish. They sprinkle on after cooking, but I don't cook that way because of my physical injuries. Cooking is very painful, trying process. So when I make a recipe, I use larger amounts and end up reheating everything. So I don't garnish it, so to speak, and then turn around and have to cut more green peppers when I serve it again. So those are my veggies. And my nice containers. And add that to the stack of things that have been prepared ahead of time. The liquid sauce, the dry sauce, and the bacon and pepperoni, all in nice little containers, ready to go. So next, we're going to get to the meat, I believe, is the next thing. Yes, the chicken and the shrimp. So I have to thaw some shrimp, cut them up into thin slices. So for the next part of this recipe, I am going to start cutting the meat. We have a breast of chicken, we have pork chop, and we also before did the bacon and pepperoni. But I'm going to cut up the chicken. I also am going to thaw out some shrimp. The ingredients I'm going to be using: baking soda, soy sauce, molasses, salt, cornstarch, and MSG, and olive oil. So sometimes when you do it wrong, it does come out okay. So I got a big variation of pieces of chicken, and just have to cut some of them in half or so for to be the right size that I want. You also should use a sharp knife too, which I don't have. My knife sharpener is terrible. And let's see, we add 2 teaspoons of baking soda. So find my teaspoon. Grab 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Don't ask me why. It's in the video. Now we add some soy sauce and other stuffs. Now add 2 teaspoons of soy sauce. The recipe didn't use the same amount of chicken that I'm using, but as I said, this whole thing is an experiment. We'll see how it goes. And we want 2 teaspoons of molasses. I don't measure the molasses with teaspoons because then the molasses sticks. So I try to visualize what a teaspoon would look like. And for me, exact measurements aren't really needed. Then, let's see, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. So many things in all these new recipes I've been trying, working with ingredients that I have never used. 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Okay. And a teaspoon of kosher salt. Don't really know the reason for so many people using kosher salt. I guess it's the iodine that they put in regular salt. I don't know. Teaspoon of kosher salt, a half a teaspoon, then Let's see, half a teaspoon of MSG. Make sure I get half. That's a quarter, this is half. I've not used MSG much in any recipe, but I'm just following the directions. Okay, a teaspoon of olive oil. Just a teaspoon. Again, something like oil that sticks to it. Just pour it in. Okay. Now, mix all that in. And I don't remember the recipe how much chicken. I don't think that this is even close. But can add a little more MSG, soy sauce. To make sure it's a good mix. There. Now, we'll cover this. If the covers didn't stick together, and stick it in the refrigerator to keep it for later. Now, I put in frozen shrimp to a bowl of hot water. Cool. Good. Now, I want to pull off the tails. I don't like eating shells. I don't mind crunchy shrimp, but not like that. And this way they come off fairly easily.
Well, thank you, Guga, for the crash course in Wagyu. That was fascinating.
Most of the time. Except for this one.
Alright, everybody. Say goodbye to Guga. I'll meet you back in my round.
So, this test proved three extremely important fundamentals when it comes to freshly ground Wagyu beef. Number one, it does have a unique beef flavor that is different from European time. Two, it has a lower melting point than US beef.
Like that.
And three, because of those first two,
I am not
however, the question
much on the way
is fundamentals.
of liking seafood. But doctors tell you that it's got omega-3s. So, what I do is, depending on the recipe, I cut them into small bits, like so. Now, some people, you can see them doing recipes, and some of them even know how to use chopsticks, which I don't. Uncoordinated to the last. And they'll take out a piece of the shrimp and eat the shrimp. And they say, well, when I do a recipe like fried rice, shrimp fried rice, I made the recipe because I'm not interested in eating just shrimp. So I use a fork and get rice along with pieces of shrimp and pieces of onion and whatever else I'm putting into it.
Quickly shut down. Just 4 years later,
It's just the way I am. I like combination flavors. I would never eat an onion or a tomato just by itself, raw. Or even a green pepper or anything like that. But all of those things I love to put on pizza and burgers and everything else. Different sandwiches. It didn't get cleaned the way it should have. And it's been on the table. Got stuff in it. Should be okay. So that's the end of this part. The next thing we gotta do is to prepare the eggs. So now I'm gonna cook the eggs.
There are just 5,000 full-blood genetic Japanese cows.
Give
The rest of them are
medium height, heat, level. Can't talk as usual. I'm going to cook them with a little bit of butter.
Mix of genetics and different Wagyu cows, and none of it is regulated by terms or grading. In Japan,
I use
obviously,
butter a
there's
lot.
robust grading system which is heavily regulated. However, Australia
prefer.
has also gotten in on breeding Wagyu cows, but they also have a rigorous grading system of 1 through 9 of beef that's really helpful for someone trying to
And I'm going to
However, when you go to the grocery store or a restaurant in America and see
lightly beat
products
the
like
eggs.
Wagyu steak, you don't
Have to
really
be
know
thoroughly
what you're getting. There's no rigorous
just a little bit.
and these scores do matter a lot when you're paying top dollar for a ribeye or thick cut of steak. Now for this video, even though we're just talking about ground beef products, you're not going to get the most pristine beef anyway. However, just because it's ground beef, I don't think we should be throwing around the word Wagyu everywhere. For example, take a look at this Arby's Wagyu Steakhouse burger. If you read the fine print, they are using a blend of 51% American Wagyu ground beef with 49% regular ground beef. So here's a question for you. Should Arby's
There's a
allow
lot of waiting
Wagyu burger when that
in
51%
cooking and baking.
American Wagyu beef is from a potential
Waiting
50%
for
crossbred Wagyu
dough to
in the
rise.
first place? If you ask me,
Waiting for water to boil.
misleading, which is why I think the U.S. needs to come up with a grading system that allows for more transparency.
Eggs.
For example, when I go to the grocery
Exactly
store,
the way I like to do it.
this could be from a normal Angus cow that barely has any Japanese genetics.
If you don't like waiting, just turn the heat up.
Different from the cheapest ground chuck.
That's why I've burned things before.
For this burger taste test, I bought 4 different
patient.
ground beef options at 4 different prices. The cheapest at $4.60 per pound is 73% lean, 27% fat ground beef. Next, at $6.25 per pound, I have USDA Prime, which is 80% lean and 20% fat. Third, we have American Wagyu ground beef, which is $75.25 at $8 per pound. And lastly, I special
The
ordered
eggs don't have to be
Wagyu
cooked
ground
thoroughly
beef
through,
that cost me $33.
because they're going to continue to cook when you add them
$30 to ship it. So if
to
you want
the
to factor
fried
that
rice.
into the cost, we are looking at over $60 per pound. Also, you may be wondering what makes this different from the A5 meat.
And the recipes that I
So this A5 ground
watch
beef that I ordered has a much lower
where they do eggs,
You see, Guga and I ground up
they do a very thin layer and then they cut it up.
fat, which
Yeah.
when you cook it, it's just
It just seems to be a waste of time.
for a burger because it all renders out, making it kind of pointless. However, this A5 ground
You
beef
can
is 75%
basically make it close to scrambled.
fat, made by grinding the less expensive and leaner cuts of an A5 Wagyu cow like the sirloin, round,
And I don't think you're going to taste any different.
we learned the Wagyu definitely does taste different than the U.S. beef. But remember, those burgers were literally just beef and bun. It was the purest form of a burger. When there's only 2 ingredients to compare, it's going to be much easier to tell the difference. However, that's not how we make burgers at home.
You're going to do a lot of stirring and poking and prodding with the fried rice. Those pieces of egg aren't going to stay very long connected as one large piece.
I weighed out 150 grams or 5.3 ounces of beef and
Then I added a
So that's about it for the eggs.
griddled and gave them a smash. I let the crust develop and then gave them a flip before going ahead and adding a slice of American cheese to each. Now, while that was going on, I prepped Martin's potato roll buns and added a spoonful of my favorite burger sauce to
And we save those for later.
I followed that with
Now we're going to be cooking the meats.
before lastly topping it with some
Going to be 3 of them.
lettuce. And once each burger was done,
They're going to be
right on
the
top.
chicken and the marinade, pork, and shrimp.
Okay, so I've got these.
We're going to start with a little butter as soon as it warms up.
See if there is any difference between
Just going to take a minute.
around like $4 a pound, all the way up to the most expensive, which is A5 Wagyu ground beef, at around $35 a pound. Let's see. And then I split up and shuffled the burgers around so I could try
And we're first going to slightly brown some garlic and ginger.
So let's dive right into burger.
Always have problems with these squeeze
When it comes to the second
containers.
burger, again, really good. But
Down. Start with the shrimp. Like that so it turns a little orange. Show me the cup. And turn it back up a little bit.
So I gotta say, all of these are just really, really good burgers, and nothing from like the steak or the garlic or something is really jumping off the page. Everything that's pretty good. This one definitely is the firmest of them. Number one is like second firmest, and then 2 and 3 are in the softest one. So based on what I know, I just have to I did I'm not really sure what this is. And then as far as the outside one goes, this is probably the but all of them are really okay, interesting. So first one was American life. Duck was the middle one. This was the A5 Wagyu. And then this was strong, which I think was a, well, I think, what I messed up? Yeah, mixed up the stock. So this is really
And as you can see, it's got a little orange color. And the chicken. And the dish is in this very hot water. Make sure you don't have any bacteria, germs, or whatever. And I think we're going to need just a little more heat. Now we're at a point where we can't really stop and just leave things.
what type of ground meat should I use.
And this is where
If you zoom out,
my back injury bothers me the most.
burger, bun,
Standing in one spot.
even if you stay in this burger product category, how you cook it is going to exactly
I'm gonna make sure that it's cooked thoroughly. And we'll go ahead and add pieces of pork. And I think by now, people can tell that I like meat. I am not a vegetable-tarian. I eat vegetables, not only with meat. Good. This is my garlic and ginger here. And a little more soy sauce. I wouldn't mind having a bigger kitchen, with bigger stove, and a bigger wok, bigger pans. But it is what it is. And you just cook with what you got. I don't follow many cooking shows that tell you that you have to use an air fryer, or have to use a deep fryer, or you have to use a microwave for this and that. Just use what you got. That's all you can do. You can come up with your own recipe and do it the way you like it. And make sure that I don't find any pieces that are raw. And we're very close to being done. And you also got to take into consideration that there will be more cooking when you add the rice, or add it to the rice. So, I think we will make an attempt to fit it into this container, if it will. We'll rinse the wok out just a little bit. And we'll let it warm back up. And we put in some more butter to turn the temperature down a little bit. That's too hot. And add some more ginger. And some more garlic. Back. And you can't remember the instructions again. You put in the veggies. And I've combined them all together. As I may have mentioned before, I am not much into garnishing because I do a large amount so that I can use it, because it's very painful for me to cook with a recipe that's longer than just putting a burger on my sandwich grill. Clamp, whatever they call it, clamshell. So get these onions just a little bit caramelized. I have a hard time with recipes that require you to stir a lot, like the way I cook bacon. I put it on very low, and I go sit down for 10 minutes. And it works. I don't burn it. It's out crispy, just the way I like it. Okay. The rice I've cooked ahead of time and left it in the refrigerator. I am hoping that it didn't go bad on me. I want to use the whole thing, but won't fit. And as this recipe gets eaten up a little bit, I can always add a little bit of rice. I want that to be just a little bit hotter. After all, this is just not good cooking. And we just hope I didn't ruin it by putting in rice that's already gone by. I've done that before. Make a complicated recipe, and you toss in a bunch of milk and find it's all curdled or something. But when you live by yourself, it's difficult. The prices of milk are ridiculous because you can get a gallon of milk for like $3 or whatever it is. The quart is actually more expensive. So not half the gallon, which means I can't buy it. I can't afford it at that size and that price. So I end up throwing away sometimes because I forget that I have milk. Not every recipe has milk in it. Tad more soy sauce. Put our temperature up just a little bit. Now, go ahead and just put in everything else. The egg, and bacon and pepperoni. Like I said, I do big helping. This will last me for at least a day. Just kidding. I can get, 4 or 5 meals or more out of it. Sometimes I'll come in and add a bunch of veggies or something else. Cover them for a while. Now the recipe I saw on YouTube was saying you put the mix in the center and pour the sauce around the outside to let it caramelize. Well, it's a little difficult to do. I think this is ready to the sauce that I made. And we'll attempt to pour it around the edge. Stir. Try to get the sauce distributed. Try to anyways. You're definitely not one of those cooks that flips the pan up in the air. No, I value food way too highly to even slightly endanger the idea of throwing it on the floor. I do that enough on my own. And there's a whole lot of stuff in here. You can look at it. Okay. I think we've got pretty much distributed throughout. Piece fell out. Taste test. Okay. Not doing too bad so far. So the last thing we put in are the peas and the dry spice. Although I think I'm going to add some cheese to it. I almost always add cheese. Just like I do with bacon. Whenever I do a recipe, first thing to do, cook the bacon. My back hurts, and I have trouble continuing with all the various ingredients that I'm going to put in. I could do my one fallback recipe that I have, namely bacon wrapped bacon. There's spices. We're on a fairly low heat, so I'm just going to let it simmer with the top on. I don't know if I'm going to put more cheese in, but probably we'll leave it at that. So I do have more green onions, so I could, if I believed in garnishing, to garnish it with the green onions. But I'm just going to let this sit for a bit. And meanwhile, I'm waiting for that to simmer. I'm supposed to put in sesame seed oil. So we'll put a little bit of that. I'm not quite convinced if that's good or not. A little hesitant. A little more stirring. Well, you can't call it stirring. What would you call it, I guess? Mixing? Don't know. Maybe we can turn it off. And my back is killing me. So this is going to have to be the end of this episode. I know the sound, the lighting, the filming, the videoing, they're all just not good. But one thing I can guarantee, at least for me, the one thing that won't be not good and that's the eating. I don't recall And granted, I've said that I have a bad memory, but I think I would remember if I ever cooked something that came out really horribly nasty. I did do one recipe early on, followed it according to the video, and it was good, but it lacked the individual kind of thing that I put into my cooking. And so here we have my dinner tonight, my version of fried rice. Don't know what to call it. It's not shrimp fried rice, it's not chicken fried rice, it's not pork fried rice. Chicken, shrimp, and pork fried rice, that's too long of a name. I need now is a fork. I seriously doubt I'm ever going to learn how to use chopsticks. Because John's law number 1, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I did it right. Doesn't need any salt or pepper, which I was thinking of doing. It's fine. Just the way it is.
Video is over. What? I'm out of here. I pay good money for this. This is how I am treated.